try and make this happen despite the traffic noises, and there's a fountain and a playground, but I just thought it was probably a little better than the backdrop of my room, so we'll try this. I was at the Lee Harris Energy Tune-Up in Asheville, North Carolina on Thursday, July 21st, 2016, and I was pretty much there as a skeptic, not as a super skeptic, just, I hold a healthy amount of reserve of my own judgment. But I also have the belief that you can learn something from anyone, even if what you're trying to learn is how not to do the thing they're trying to teach you. So, healthy amount of skepticism, open-minded on the ability to learn, and surprise, I learned something. Maybe learned isn't the right word, but had something clarified in my conscience and my consciousness that had maybe just been a subconscious notion before. So let me explain. While Lee was taking audience questions, he was speaking to a gentleman who, had some self-awareness and self-esteem issues, and he said something to the effect of, now I'm totally paraphrasing because I didn't expect this to resonate so deeply, so I wasn't recording or taking necessary notes. He said something to the effect of, our physical bodies are not for us to see. They are for everyone else to know us by. Because mirrors and cameras and pictures and paintings and things like that, the way we think of the way we see ourselves, is a social construct. It's not a natural, inevitable guarantee. We have those things because we wanted to have those things, and then those things caused us to have a dissatisfaction with the way we look and to not like ourselves very much. And he said, have you ever observed a peacock? The peacock doesn't know what he looks like. The only reason he knows what he looks like is because he sees other peacocks. But does he care? No, because he knows that he doesn't look like that for himself. He looks like that to attract other peacocks, peahens, whatever. He does that to attract other birds to him. That's why he looks that way. So basically what he was saying is, we don't look like we look to please ourselves. We look like we look physically to please other people. Not to please other people as in, if somebody doesn't think you're pretty or doesn't think you're attractive, but to please other people as in to find those people who do think that you're naturally attractive, or do think that you're naturally beautiful, or just are not affection attracted to you, but just magnetized attraction to you. And when he said this, something that's just been boiling under the surface for me just burst out. Because I've heard a lot of things lately with people saying, I don't look good for you, I look good for me. I don't wear makeup for you, I wear makeup for me. Or men say, I don't go to the gym for you, I go to the gym for me. And to me, that's always rung a little false. I have my self-esteem issues. Sometimes I look at my face and I go, ooh, there's a spot there, or there's a spot there. And yes, I actually did just draw your attention to the spots on my face because I know where they are. That's how aware I am. But I've never really hated or self-loathed. I've never had really that issue. And that's something that when I see other people do it, it really hurts my heart. It hurts my spirit for people to self-deprecate or self-loathe or to not like themselves or love themselves. And now this concept of I don't do it for you, I do it for me, it's almost, in my mind, a really huge backlash to that. It's well, I don't like the way that I look, so instead of just accepting it and sitting with it, I'm just going to keep changing the way I look until I like it, and I don't care if you don't like it anymore. And I mean, that's fine. I choose not to cut my hair. I choose, in the past I've chosen to dye it. Sometimes I wear makeup, sometimes I don't. I choose the clothes I wear based on how they make me feel. I do decorate myself and present myself for me. But at the same time, I understand that I have friends. I have a family who loves me. I have, people who come up to me on the street and ask me questions or say, you know, you just look like you're really happy today. And that's got nothing to do with how I feel about myself. I can be having a really crappy day and somebody can go, you know, I'm having a really bad day, but you look happy. And I'm not faking it, because I wasn't expecting them to say that to me. Or even if I am faking it, I understand that if somehow my smile made them feel better, that yes, I owe them that smile, because it's part of our human contract as human beings on this planet to get along together. And if somebody comes up to me and says, I really like your hair, and my response is, you know, thank you, I'm glad, I really like your shirt, or I really like your eyes, or something like that, then as long as I'm telling the truth and they're telling the truth, we've just validated each other for no other reason than our own existence. If somebody comes up to me and says, I don't like your shirt, well, I can choose to say, I don't do it for you anyway, I do it for myself. Or I can choose to say nothing. Or I can choose to say, well, I really do like your glasses. And just let them understand that despite their own negative perceptions of me, I didn't do it for them, but that doesn't mean that just because they have a negative perception of me that I should have a negative perception of them. If they've given me nothing to go on but their looks or the way they walked up to me, I don't have to automatically assume things. And not to get into specific situations, but I feel that there's things that women experience as a whole, or at least say they experience as a whole, that I don't come up against very often. I feel that's because I don't do things for me. I don't say, well, I feel like crap today, so I'm gonna make sure everybody knows it. I'm gonna make sure I look the way I feel. Sometimes I do. Everybody does it. We're all humans. But sometimes I just pull myself together and say, you know what? I'm having a bad day. I don't like the way I feel in these pants. I don't like the way I feel in this shirt. I don't really want to leave the house. But if I have to go out of the house, I want to make sure that I'm not making everybody else feel as bad as I am. It's incomprehensible to me that when someone is feeling bad, that they want everyone else around them to feel bad. And part of the way everyone else reacts to you is how you present yourself. I used to say that the worse I felt, the better I looked. Not because I wanted to trick people, but because I didn't want people to feel bad on account of me. And now everybody will explode and say, you don't owe anybody that. If you don't feel good, you should be able to look like you don't feel good. Well, okay, but if people care about me enough, if they don't care about me enough, they can just see me looking decent and saying, oh, she must feel decent. And they can go about their way and we don't have to have any interaction. If they actually care about me, then they don't care how I look. They'll still come up and ask me, how are you doing today? And then I can say, well, actually, I feel really awful. I'm having a really bad day. I have a headache, or I'm ill. Or it's about fostering human interaction. And if I look terrible and I walk outside looking terrible and someone says, you look terrible, and I say, well, I didn't look like this for you. I wasn't trying to make you happy. Then what does that do? It's severed a human interaction. It's severed a personal connection. So when I stand in the mirror in the morning and I say, oh God, why do I have these giant black circles under my eyes? Well, you know, screw it. It's not my job to cover them up. And if anybody asks, I'm just going to say none of your business. I'm automatically setting myself up to reject anything good that I might have. If, on the other hand, I say, oh God, look at these dark circles under my eyes. Well, I obviously don't wear a lot of makeup. I've got on lipstick right now. That's it. I would say, okay, well, I'm going to put a cute bow in my hair and distract people from the dark circles under my eyes. And if anybody asks me what's wrong, I'll tell them I'm not having that great a day. But look at my cute bow. And then, I've brought something into the world. If somebody I know personally, somebody that I want to have a deeper, more intimate connection with says, you really don't look good today, Rhiannon. I can say, well, I'm having a really bad day. Can you help me? But I'm not going to automatically walk out of my house feeling miserable, looking like I feel miserable, and ready to make anybody that comes in contact with me miserable. because I don't exist in this physical being for myself. I can't see myself right now. I'm going to turn this video around when I'm done with it, watch it, and probably say, oh God, I can't put this on YouTube. And then I'm gonna do it anyway, because I've got something to say and I'm choosing to say it through video, and it doesn't matter what I look like because I'm not here for me. And that's why I chose video instead of typing, because I'm much more comfortable typing because I don't ramble, I don't do this with my hands. But in this case, talking about how we present ourselves physically, I felt the need to physically be there. So basically, after I had this huge mushroom cloud thing go on in my head, what I realized from Lee was that since we are not made to see ourselves, since we are made so that other people can see us, you have to show people what's inside. And if what's inside is, I really don't want you to come near me, don't come near me, I don't do life for you, I do life for me, well then don't wonder why nobody speaks to you, nobody wants to have more than a surface relationship with you. If you're not presenting yourself in a way that says, come to me, be close to me, be, intimately connected with me as a friend or a family member or, an intimate partner, if you're not presenting yourself that way, they won't come to it. And you won't go to them either. And, I spent 5 minutes missing the rest of what he was saying because this huge idea was blooming in my head that perhaps the reason why we have so many miscommunications and so many contentious relationships and contentious interactions in this day and age is because we don't present ourselves for other people. We present ourselves for ourselves. And who cares? That's not the way it's meant to be. And I hope any of this made sense. And I hope that any of it, touched rather than just bouncing off your head or bouncing off your soul. And that you can perhaps understand a little better why it is that certain people are ultimately attractive, ultimately attracting people, and why some people, someone or yourself, ultimately just repel people. And that's something that hurts my heart because it's almost the people that repel people that are aching to have the connection more. And maybe it's just that you don't think you're doing life for anybody else. You're only doing it for yourself, and everybody sees that from 10 paces and won't approach you. So that was what I took away from Lee Harris's Energy Tune-Up in Asheville, North Carolina, July 21st, 2016.